we have found for a solution.
Our problem statement, so the Regina Symphony Orchestra needs to recover from a deficit that's $350,000 in debt in 3 years' time. External analysis, so there's no direct competition. They said in the thing that they were competing with Netflix and a bunch of random things that I didn't really understand, to be honest, how Netflix could be overtaking music industry. But I guess if you're watching it at home, you're not getting the customers or ticket buyers to come out to the actual show. The targeting that they're targeted, or the target market for them is very small. They're targeting 80-year-olds because who goes to see somebody.
So our alternatives are, there's one for the Dark Hall, which is another venue. We're going to change the prices or use the Symphony Under the Sky. Okay, so Dark Hall is a hall that's opening up another venue. And this one, it's kind of long-term because the hall's not opening up till 2019. So it's a slow climb to get there. However, it's a less drastic change for them, and it would just increase as another venue for them.
Alternative number 2, we adjust and completely revamp all the pricing for the packages and the tickets. We can lower the prices for the students. I know they said $25. We could try to bring that down to 20. You know, most people have 20 laying around instead of 20 and a $5 bill. We can change the packages. I know the ratios are completely unequal for some of them. As you can see, the Masterworks is $40 per concert. So each person pays $40 per concert. That's and they earn 40 grand on average per concert. But the movie score one, the Pops, a person pays $53.40 per concert, but they earn $73,000. So we can try to adjust those ratios to get them more balanced, and maybe bring the Masterworks up a bit. So some benefits would be your revenue increase. You adjust the ratios, you optimize your price, and then you can attract new patrons, new young people to come, because once you adjust it, you can get the younger audience to come in. But then again, that comes at the cost of maybe you'll lose your own loyal fan base. They come, people don't like change really. They'll be like, oh, you changed the price. So that could be a concern and a downside to it.
Alternative number 3, so we call it the Symphony Under the Skies, or the Starry Night, we like to call it when we were doing it. We figured it would be better to do it at night, and it didn't really say what time it was happening. But we're going to move it from outside of the city into Regina, and therefore you could charge people for it. And we figured if you charge people $65 a ticket, and roughly 3,000 people are attending it was out of town, they're attending that one. So if you bring it in town, we're hoping that more people would actually attend. And you might pull in some of the previous customers that were coming from way out of town to go to the out of town one. But at $65 times 3,000, that comes with $195,000. Times that by 3, you're out of debt in 3 years. So. Potential loss of out-of-town fans is one of our concerns, because maybe they don't want to make the drive and then pay $65 for a ticket, but that's the way it goes. Benefits: increased in-town fans, larger profits, and it's more efficient to get out of the deficit. Get out quicker, it's kind of like a quick fix.
So we came up with a decision criteria here. We ranked all 3 of them based on the solutions and the outcomes of them. So we have the first one, the Dark Hall. We rated it 65 for success because it's long. You have to wait. You have to survive until 2019. We're not really changing anything until 2019 when that hall opens up. And after it does open up, you have to climb out of there. You still have to work. You're still in debt when it opens up, so it's slow. So we put it 80% risk there, and 55% opportunity because you're not really changing anything up until 2019. And then we have adjustment of the prices, 75% success there, because you're changing it up, you're allowing new people to come. If you change up the prices, you're allowing more accessibility for students. And we put 45% risk because you're not really changing your entire business, you're just changing the prices. And opportunity, we put it at 65% because this allows you to get profit. And the Symphony Under the Skies, or Starry Night, we put it at 85% success because this was originally no charge out of town, but if you bring it in town, you're not really losing your current base here in town, like the people that come to the hall to listen to your Paul scores or the Masterworks. So we put it at 85% success. There isn't really that much of a risk. You're losing a sponsor if you bring it in town. But other than that, you're not really losing much. And 80% opportunity, because in the future this allows growth. You're adding another branch to your orchestra, a new thing for you guys, a new thing to be known by.
So we're recommending alternative 3, so moving Symphony Under the Sky into the town, and into the city and charge admission. It's just it's short term, you're gonna make it back in 3 years easily. And then you'll get more people in.
So the implementation of this plan, it's originally short term. You bring it in, you get instant profit, but then it could become a long-term thing if you let it grow, and it can become part of your brand identity, part of the orchestra's identity, I guess. And yeah, once we bring it in, it can move from short-term to long-term. And you can get into Regina. Regina has lots of beautiful outdoor spaces. You've got parks, and you got the prairie landscape, and lots of flat ground for orchestras.
Still our question.
Cool. Good job, guys. I've been leading off the questions for the previous 2 groups, so I can do it again, or you can take over that.
Sure, I'll go first. I have a question in regards to the recommendation and implementation of your recommendation. Have you guys accounted for any risks associated with bringing in Symphony Under the Stars to Regina, and how that could affect your implementation?
I'd say the only concern would be you'd be paying for venue maybe, and loss of a small number of fans from an outside region.
It's also outdoors, so you're not going to be paying for a huge concert hall. Of course, there's going to be costs with as he said, the venue and the outdoor space, but it's not going to be as great as a building that magnitude.
One thing that I'm thinking about specifically is a rainy day fund in the case of weather circumstances.
Absolutely.
So with that, a rainy day fund available for that.
Okay. You didn't speak a lot about marketing, and just looking at the revenue expenses breakdown in the case, the RSO spends less money on marketing than the national average. What do you think, you can speak, to your age demographic or slightly older, but do you think that marketing is important? And what would be a good way to market to younger people, whether it's people your age or in their early 20s or even early 30s?
I feel like marketing is important, but I feel like it's shifted now that with the introduction of mass media and social media, you have people more like the word of mouth kind of, one person goes, he enjoys it, he texts it off to his friends, he Snapchats to his friends, so I feel like it's more less paying, on for TV and more just word of mouth now.
One thing you might add, you create a web page or an Instagram page or even a Snapchat page, for account.
And does that all free of charge?
Yeah, exactly. But marketing, how do you spend more on marketing? They're already in a deficit that they're trying to come out of. You spend a bunch on marketing. I think your best bet is to go take the free routes by making an Instagram page or a Snapchat account.
So have you 3 ever been to the RSO from Yorkton? But have you ever been? to the Symphony Regina?
I haven't.
No?
More of a CCR kind of guy.
Yeah. What would it take to convince any of you three, even if you were already in Regina for something else, but what would it take to convince you to spend, $20, $30, $40, $50 to go to a show?
I like all types of music. I'm not completely biased against one type of music or another. But, of course, orchestras, they have their stigma. You look at them and you picture old guys, boring. But, yeah. But, under the skies, that sounds like, I don't know about you guys, but like if I take my significant other or my girlfriend there, that sounds like a romantic evening. And, if they change it up with the music, movie scores, I love those. Or like if they did like classic renditions of like classic rock songs with orchestra, that sounds pretty cool. If they did something like that, I'd be game.
That's a good answer.
I just have another question about the recommendation, kind of off Paige's question. You talked a lot about for the Symphony Under the Sky or the Stars being in Regina and the potential for that to increase the revenue. But then when I was looking at your decision criteria in terms of like your risk analysis on it, I thought was a little bit low because I'm wondering if you considered the cost implications of moving it. So what expenses would increase to move into the city, for example, if you're going to start charging for it and you're talking about an outside green space, you need to have some way to restrict people from just being a part of it, right? If you're charging an admission fee and same with if it's at night, you're going to want to have lighting, right, for a stage and things like that. So there's a few expenses. I'm wondering if you went through any analysis of that when it fed into your decision criteria for the low risk analysis on that.
We kind of guesstimated a number as best as we could, and we took a chunk off of that number to like taxes and stuff like that.
Okay.
And of course, like expenses, we did our best on the estimating, but we've in a limited amount of time, it's not like we have the actual numbers to
For sure.
properly figure that exact question out.
Yeah, I know you're estimating. I'm just mostly, clarifying that factored into your, where you place it in terms of the low risk and the high opportunity as the recommendation. Awesome. Any other questions, guys?
No. Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Really well done, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for putting on.
Our pleasure.